Gentlemen, we good with the sound here? Okay, good afternoon. Uh, Thank you for coming out. This is our second, actually fourth, I think, parent meeting. I'm using the microphone. I know it seems silly that it sounds like I don't need to use it, but it's for the live stream. There was a little bit of an echo outside, which was part of the reason we moved it indoors. Also, the potential of some storms we're going to roll through. I didn't want anybody to get caught out there. So, thank you all for coming out. I'm Peter Permataris, the high school principal. It's nice to see some familiar faces, even with the masks on. I hope you're all doing well and your families are doing well, trying to enjoy some of the summer weather. Mr. Dyroff, he's Director of Guidance and Assistant Principal. And our newest member of the building administration team is Miss Christina Romeo. She is Director of Fine and Applied Arts, as well as Assistant Principal. When Mr. LaBianca retired, we found an opportunity to continue some of the things that the building was looking forward to doing the next few years with the transition from last year with the passing of Mr. Grable. I felt it was very important to have a familiar face for the students. Ms. Romeo has been a tremendous asset during this whole process. Her background in the arts is going to fare that department well, and I'm really appreciative of everything she's done. And I look forward to the kids having a familiar face as well to be able to assist them throughout this entire basically opening, reopening, and some of the challenges that lie ahead. So welcome, Ms. Romeo. Basically just some ground rules about the meeting. We're going to basically kind of go over some of the things that you have. There was a handout. The letter you should have received in the mail by now with student schedules, as well as a health questionnaire that has to be filled out. I'll go over all that in a second. Some of the frequently asked items are on the letter, so I'll just kind of go through what we're kind of thinking the first few days will look like, and then touch a little bit upon what is the biggest concern I think was with the remote learning. I'll kind of go over that and what we expect it to look like. Obviously, like with any plan, it's a great plan until you start to execute it, and then you realize things have to be tweaked. So we'll kind of go over that, and then I'll open it up to some questions, and I'll also leave some time at the end for some personal questions. I know sometimes people don't like to ask maybe some things that pertain to you and your child, so I like to build in some of that time. It worked out well with the other parent meetings. So that's kind of like the breakdown of how we'll do things over the next 45 minutes or so. Okay, so obviously this is not ideal for anybody. I got in the business 24 years ago as a teacher and never thought that I'd see the day where I was keeping kids out of school. The whole point of being in our business, in my mind, is to have kids in school. One of the things that I don't want to touch upon is, well, why then aren't we having a full reopening? This is the plan. The plan is a hybrid plan. It's a transitional plan. In meeting with Mr. Brosdale and the administrative team, we all feel the same way in that we do ideally want our kids back full time. We understand that the challenges that come with remote learning, and we tried to make improvements on the remote learning documents and remote learning process. Having said all that, this is not the forum to discuss changes to the plan. Like anything else, you need to have something to be able to start the school year with. We believe this is that kind of transitional phase back in where we're at least having the students in person 2 days. The district is offering a full remote plan, which is why one of the days was built in for teachers to be able to do that for the students that select and the parents that select full remote learning. Okay, so I just wanted to also just offer that to say I'm going to be discussing the hybrid plan, how that might look if you decide to send your child for the hybrid plan, or if, again, you decide the full remote. One of the things that comes to mind is, the first days of school, and I totally get it. What we want to try to do is really have a celebration as much as we can of having kids back in school. So the first week is really going to be trying to get kids acclimated to some of the things that we're going to be looking for as the school year progresses. Obviously, first and foremost is masks, face coverings. We are mandating masks be worn at all times. Teachers can give mask breaks at their discretion. We have some classes that are very small because of the hybrid model. So that's first and foremost one of the things that we're going to be looking at, making sure that we enforce that. Students that when they enter, there's a health questionnaire attached to the frequently asked questions and the letter that was sent home. The CDC, the DOH, all recommend that the temperature checks be done at home. We're going to be following suit with that. We're going to be asking that you do the temperature checks at home. If a student does not have that paper, when they come to school, 9th and 10th graders will be coming in through the gymnasium doors. 11th and 12th graders will be coming in through the cafeteria doors. We will be collecting that. I won't say that there may not be a staff member there doing some infrared thermometer checks, okay? But I'm asking that parents do not send their children, and one of the way that we can make sure that it's done is through the health questionnaire. My goal is that if we continue to remain open, hopefully, then I will be looking at introducing an app that the students can download, that the app can then be used instead of the hard copy. Didn't want to overwhelm everybody in the beginning with apps and technology. We already have so much to think about with remote learning, so we're going to stick with the traditional paper for now. If a student does not have that, they will be asked to come to the main entrance where the nurses will be conducting a health screening prior to entering the building. We have an isolation area that will be created in the lobby so that they do not even enter the building, in a sense, to the main parts if there is something wrong, okay? So that's kind of what your child's entry will look like. Cohort 1 is Mondays and Tuesdays. Cohort 2 is Thursdays and Fridays. We've designated again Wednesday to be a full remote day for teachers to have in order to also allow us to clean the building. One of the things that we thought when we were doing it with the reopening committee, which was made up of teachers, parents, students, administrators, union leadership from all of the 3 units. One of the things was that we wanted to ensure continuity of instruction. And we felt like most districts that are using the hybrid model, that the AABB, or I like to call cohort 1 and cohort 2 model was better. So one of the things we're looking at is there was a question that came up a lot about the continuity, the amount of days. When we look through how many days are involved, there's really only 2 that cohort 1 misses out on, and one of them is Labor Day. The other one is Columbus Day. So when you look at the entire semester, there's only a 2-day discrepancy. So we really aren't looking to shift that yet. If we see that there's for some reason we need to adjust it, we certainly will. You know, equity is very important to us and to the teachers. So that's kind of what the kids will expect. So Tuesday, September 8th will be for cohort 1. Wednesday, September 9th is if you choose the remote model, your teachers will be getting in contact with you if you choose the full remote model. And cohort 2 will be in their first day of school will be Thursday, September 10th. Okay. Again, following the procedures that we have set up. One of the things that, again, having lived through it in the spring, that we understand parents struggle with was the remote learning part. So what's the expectation? After meeting with union leadership, meeting with teachers, administrators, Mr. Brosdale numerous times, students and parents, getting all of that feedback, the expectation is that teachers should be continuing the learning, okay? What does that mean? That does not mean that in the high school right now, if your child is attending cohort 1, that they'll be doing the same thing on Thursday and Friday with cohort 2. Students will be expected to log in on the days that they are not here and following along with the instruction of the class that is taking place. Okay. Now, again, that's a plan. That's the plan. The plan is to have as much of that going on as possible. What we want, though, is to first of all get kids back. That's how I started the conversation by saying we want to get kids back. We want them transitioning back to school. So does that mean that on Thursday, the child who comes in cohort 2 is going to have to view what was done on the Tuesday? No, not in the first week. However, as we head into the following week, that's the expectation, that the Thursday and Friday cohort is seeing what the class is doing on Monday and Tuesday and following along. Teachers understand, and they're being equipped with webcams. Okay, there was a big discussion about live streaming. Live streaming is going to be a part of of our high school program. There are some teachers who have expressed the interest in doing live streaming, especially with higher end classes. Okay, so you might see that a teacher might say, you need to be logged in at 7:30 to watch the live stream of our Calc BC class, or you might have to log into the Earth Science class. You might see that. And that's something that I'm going to support and the administration is going to support, because we want the kids to be connected and make it look as much like a school day as possible. There's also going to be a turn-in feature that's going to act as an attendance piece that was not around in the springtime. Okay? When we were in the spring, we were kind of blindsided. Everybody understood that. We've had the time to reflect on what worked, what didn't work. Okay? The technology department has been overwhelmed with the upgrades that we've made over the summer. They're still putting in brand new computers in every single teacher's classroom. I actually had a teacher come in today. They were like, the speed of which he was able to log in from the past was amazing. So I'm glad to hear that. And that's the investment the district has made in order to help that piece become better. Webcams have been ordered. They're being installed. I'm hopeful to have at least half of our classrooms with webcams. Now, again, you might say the webcam is going to be for live streaming. Not necessarily. The webcam could be used to, again, record the teacher's lesson. We've also purchased subscription to Screencastify, where a teacher can then go back and edit a portion of their lesson that can be uploaded for your child to see on the days they're not in person. There's a myth out there that I saw a lot of comments, or that in the discussions that we had, that teachers somehow stand in front, like I'm doing right now, for 39 of a 40-minute class. I could tell you as a former teacher, that's not the way that instruction works. Not 20 years ago, not 20 days ago, okay? There's guided lessons. A lot of that will be videotaped, and then there might be an activity. So if you're thinking that your child is going to be exposed to 39 or 40 minutes of live instruction, again, that's not necessarily how a real class works, let alone what they're going to see the teacher uploading. There might be a 10, 12-minute video of the lesson, the unit, the concept they're covering, and then there might be an activity that goes with it. Please submit the activity, and that'll be the lesson for the day. It's just a general kind of best way I could describe it, as a generality. Again, the teachers have a lot of discretion on how they're going to do that, and we're going to be monitoring very closely. We know and we understand what worked and what didn't work. Again, I can tell you what I want it to look like. We all have a vision of what we want it to look like. All the directors have a vision of what we want it to look like. The teachers have a vision of what they want it to look like. So that's what we're going to be working together to do. Question came up about back to school nights. Personally, for me, I'd love to talk to the teachers and say that they're going to be putting up a video for you to access, so you get to see their face, you get to hear about their class procedures. That's something to be working on with them as well. Okay? So, again, I think that kind of, when I look down the questions, it kind of helped appease some of the things that we wanted to discuss. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to the floor. I'll be repeating the questions so that everybody at home, whoever's watching, can hear it. Go ahead. Extra help. Excellent. So again, once we get school rolling, okay, my way I'm looking at it, first of all, is we're hopeful by September 21st that after school activities actually start up. We did hear some positive news that there might be some sports. We're waiting for Section 11 to give us exact guidance. As soon as after school activities start up, I'm going to be asking teachers to make like office hours. So it might be by appointment. It might be a little more structured. But as soon as we have after school activities, then we'll start doing some of that. I also see Wednesdays, if we continue on the hybrid plan for an extended period of time, I see Wednesdays being perhaps an office hours type of thing. And I think the teachers see that as well. But that'll come as we really don't want to mix cohorts right now, mostly because we're going to have to do a lot of contact tracing. God forbid we do get cases. So that was the whole point of having the cohorts too. So again, as we live with this plan, it's a fluid plan. It's something that we're constantly going to be looking at. And believe me, I know the teachers brought up the same points. They want to be able to provide the extra help. They want to be able to provide the support the kids need. So as soon as we get the ball rolling after a couple of weeks, and like I said, I'm hopeful within a few weeks we'll have clubs running. I think the news we heard a couple of days ago with the sports was very promising. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm hoping we can do that. Question? Mm-hmm. It's a great question. The question was about senior parking and student drop off. Right now, we liked the changes that were made in the beginning of last year. We thought it worked well. Mrs. Romeo and I actually, and Mrs. Dyroff, we were contemplating if we do see there's a large number of drop-offs or an increased number in drop-offs, we did leave the 2 rows of student parking empty. So all student parking right now is going to be assigned closer to the faculty lot. So if you're looking outside, the 2 lots. Um, right now, we feel like if we did need overflow, where we saw was backing up and creating, we can have another row of drop off while still maintaining the safety of the kids parking. Okay, that was one of the main reasons I pulled the drop off out last year, is because I saw it and I'm like, this can't be good. I actually was parking a few cars last year uh, in the beginning, so everybody's a new drivers and they're a little nervous, but that is our plan to help remedy that if that's the case. Okay. Yes, Mr. Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay. Mhm. Let me clarify, and the question is a good one. It's about what's the structure supposed to look like. What is the classes that are what their expectation is. First and foremost, the expectation is that a student's day is going to be between 8 and 2. Now, if there is a first period class, like I said, that wants to live stream, your child might have to start a little bit earlier. Okay, there's going to be a turn-in feature. So every class, when they're throughout that day, is going to have to show that they checked into that class Google Classroom. Okay. What I said before about half the class being equipped is every class in the high school will eventually be equipped with a webcam. There will be classrooms that teachers can use on the Wednesday as a studio to film their lessons if they don't have it in their classrooms when school's open. I can tell you, if you walk down to the cafeteria right now, the amount of technology that was brought into this building for this district and the amount that 3 men are doing right now to get this building ready to go and the other buildings ready to go is a daunting task. You can also imagine that we're not the only ones thinking about purchasing webcams. Okay. Every district on Long Island, at least the high schools I've been talking to, are doing similar things that we have. So there's a supply issue. How does that get back to your question? My vision for the plan, and what I've talked with teachers and we've brainstormed, is that let's say that trig class doesn't have one of the webcams. That teacher could be moved to a class with a webcam if they choose to do live streaming. If it's available, we'll find them a room. If the teacher comes to me and says, I really want to live stream this lesson on this particular day, or I want to create a video. So we're going to find a place for them to make sure they have the necessary tools to be as in person as possible, even when the kids are day off. The other thing that I think you brought up was in terms of a student being engaged when they're home, correct? Yeah. No, absolutely. Live streaming, look, live streaming was a word that it came up in discussions with Mr. Brosdale, the teachers unit, and everything. The only thing that we're not doing is mandating live streaming. Okay, we're not mandating it, and I can, again, I can speak to you if you like. We're not mandating live streaming. What we are expecting, okay, and there's an expectation that videos of the lessons your child misses will be uploaded to the Google Classroom for them to access. So what that means is whatever your child missed, okay, on the day they're not here, right? Whatever lesson was done, they will be able to view or at least see the teacher doing. Okay. So that's the expectation in terms of videos. Okay. So when we say live streaming versus videos, it's really two different things. Okay. Did you want to have a follow up? Okay. Google Classroom has a comment section that teachers and students can use in order to ask any questions they might have. So when you get on Google Classroom, there's private comments that teachers and students can communicate with. So that's how you would ask a question of a teacher. If even when they're live streaming, that's one of the difficulties that the teachers had was, let's say you have a class of 20. 24 students, and 12 are in and 12 are home. Even when you're live streaming that was one of their concerns, is how would they be able to address some of the, if they had an issue, even if they're live streaming. So that was one of the problems of why live streaming was difficult. Like, are they going to have a microphone that could be channeled into the classroom with a speaker, those types of things. So I think the expectation right now is to open up schools safely, to do videos, to be able to look at instruction. As the time goes on and as the teachers get more comfortable with using the technology, we're expecting that videos be put online that the teachers can then say, you need to view this, you need to come in, or you need to private message me with questions, and we'll use those materials. But the expectation is more of seeing the teacher doing the instruction. Okay? No, it's, look, Mrs. Gennaro, this is probably one of the most difficult things to answer, because it gets back to my point that I started in the beginning of the conversation. The plan is to do a lot more synchronous, okay, that word synchronous instruction, okay? It is very difficult to tell you exactly how it's going to look until we start doing it. This is uncharted territory. There's no way that I can look at my crystal ball. I know what I want it to look like I said, but until we start doing it and start seeing what's capable of being done. But the idea, I'm not going to lie to you and say that between 7:30 and 2:02, when your son or daughter is home, that they're going to be in front of I had this conversation with Mr. Brosdale, that they're going to be in front of a kitchen table, like waiting for the teacher to step in front of the camera and just teach. That's not what we're really looking to do. 100%. The teachers have gotten trained on Google Classroom. The teachers are getting trained on Screencastify, which is a video editing software during superintendent's conference days. We have professional, Miss Davidson has been a big part of that. So yes, the answer to that question is simple. Yes, teachers have been trained. So you're not. I've known you a long time. It absolutely does. And I tell you, a lot of time was spent over the summer meeting with teachers and understanding that this is not ideal for anybody. Okay. I use that term a lot because it's not. And we all want to get to a place where, again, I don't know if you called me in the beginning, but this is not what instruction to us should look like. We understand that we're trying to get back, but we are trying to do better than we did, and we'll continue to improve. But again, like any plan, you have to start executing it. All right. Yep. Mhm. So it's a teacher discretion. It's in the CDC guidelines that mask breaks are allowed to be given. Obviously, when the child's eating, they won't have a mask on. We have the various areas, cafeteria. We're going to be assigning classrooms so that we make sure we have social distancing. So they could take the masks off. But basically, in a room, when there could be 8 students in a room, and it's properly distanced, teacher can have a mask break. Okay. There's right now where all masks are mandatory at all times. Yeah. It's difficult, believe me. Mhm. Yeah, and if there is something, like that there's asthma or something like that, please let us know, and please email the nurse, because we are meeting with the nurses to make sure that we have. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even seasonal allergies came up. Yep, seasonal allergies. This is we're lucky that we have, and this was a question that was asked about the HVAC. HVAC audit was done of every building. I think we were one of the first districts to do it. Recommendations were made. Rooms that didn't have proper exhaust were equipped with them. So I feel very confident. Our MERV rating is one of the highest we can have because we're a newer building. So all the filters were upgraded to the highest rating that the units can handle. So that's part of having again, a place where students can feel good about coming into and staff can feel good about coming into. So we are providing, as it says in the letter, we are providing a breakfast and lunch program. Breakfast, we'll have a kiosk down here for the 9th, 10th graders. The cafeteria will be equipped to provide breakfast for them. The plan is right now to have prepackaged food, but it's going to be a hot lunch. Okay, so students will be basically in the cafeteria having their lunch, and then on some periods where we can't properly social distance, we're going to be providing classrooms for them to go to, similar to a cafeteria, just eat in a classroom. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So to start, part of the hybrid plan was that Wednesday is a non-instructional day. That's the day that students that have chosen to be on full remote, teachers will be checking in with those students to ensure that they don't have any questions, that there's an opportunity for them. So to start Wednesday right now as a non-instructional day does not mean that there might not be something assigned that might have to be, submitted when the student returns on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. But it's technically a non-instructional day where, again, the live streaming, those types of things will not occur, at least in the beginning. The schedules were mailed out on Friday. You should be getting it in your mail with that letter. Perhaps because of your situation, maybe just we'll look into it. Okay. Okay. Yep. So So that'll get us through day one. Each student will be provided extra copies in their homeroom. We're going to have them available for them to take home, and I'll also have a link to it on our website so that you're able to print it out. Again, I don't know if you were here, but I'm looking to do, if we are continuing with this, to have an app. I understand the cumbersome nature of a piece of paper, and students being students and parents and on the run and doing what they got to do. So I am looking to phase that in. I just didn't want to do it for the first couple of weeks of school. So students will be provided. Remember, they only have to bring it in 2 days a week because they're really only here 2 days a week. So they will be provided with enough copies to get us through at least September, and then we'll go from there. Yep. Yep. The question is about college application process, and because of, first and foremost, National Honor Society. That was something that was brought up. I'm just tying it into that because the juniors didn't have an opportunity to apply and be inducted in the spring. We always held a fall induction and application process for some seniors anyway. We're just going to be doing that with more of the seniors so that they have it in time to put on their college resumes. In terms of the college application process, we're planning to have office meetings with the students to be able to do all that. Correct. So those are the days. That's what we're kind of talking about, Mr. Darrow.
Inspired. Um, the actual process itself that we have internally, there are obviously external deadlines, whether your child's applying to, Binghamton, who might have, an October 1st deadline, October 5th, whatever the deadline is. We ask those kids to make sure that they start prioritizing, those selections. Um, it's an ongoing thing up in guidance. Just ask that, you tell your child, especially the seniors, to stay in communication with their counselors. Their counselors will be contacting them, within a short time of getting into school. We have to get through, obviously, scheduling issues, to start off the school year, jump right into the seniors and dealing with that.
Yeah. The other thing about seniors that's in the letter, there was some concerns about senior pictures. Those are all happening. We were told by the company that the drapes that they kind of borrowed from each other won't be happening, but I'm looking to get your cap and gown shipped to home. You'll have it. We're going to be putting the order online ordering, and it'll go right to your house. So we'll have it in time for the senior pictures. So they'll have a picture with their own cap and gown, and then we could use that for the yearbook. In terms of activities, trips, that's all in there. I love the trip. I'm so happy we were able to get it for the seniors last year. I'm hopeful that once travel restrictions ease, we're in constant contact with our tour company. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get the trip going in the spring. And as soon as we know that we can start booking things, they have the dates already. Unfortunately, Southwest right now isn't booking out that far, and the hotels are running at 50% capacity. So that's one of the challenges we're having with that. All right. I think we're right about where we want it to be. Um, I think anybody wants to stay behind, we'll kind of end it there and ask anyone of us some questions. Otherwise, again, this is the start of a conversation, trying to get kids into the building. I don't want to use the word excited, but as it comes with any start of a new school year, it should be a celebratory time. We're going to try to do that as much as possible, although it might not look the same as other years. So appreciate you coming out, and if you have any questions or you think of anything, just email us, and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, thank you.